I saw the final price and I really wish I had a video of my face when I saw that number. A story as old as time. You're a car enthusiast going on vacation to New York City, Miami, Los Angeles, Las Vegas. What better way to enjoy yourself than by renting a special luxury or exotic car? They entice you with some really nice prices, and so you call them or email them in advance just because you want everything to be perfect and ready for your trip. I'm going to share my full horrible experience with one of these exotic luxury car rental spots and some obvious red flags and sales tactics that they use so that you, the customer, can at least know what you're getting yourself into. Here is the story. We went to Las Vegas for my bachelor's party and I rented a McLaren off Turo several months in advance, but found out 30 minutes prior to my rental time that the Turo host canceled the reservation because the car was in the shop. Apparently he made a call to Turo saying he could not rent the vehicle. It was not available. I scrambled to see if I could rent something special that day and make up for the canceled reservation. My brother found a reputable site and the same McLaren I wanted slashed down to $599 per day, which wasn't bad. It was more expensive than my Turo, but I really hyped myself up on driving in a McLaren for the trip. So I called them in advance to see if it was still available for the day, and the guy's like, yeah, it's here, come on in, it's ready, we'll talk about it more when you get to the shop. So I'm stressing that we immediately after having this phone call drove over to their location. Right at the front of their dealership, I saw the car. I saw the McLaren sitting out there. So I go in and I was assigned a saleswoman. She made a disparaging comment about Turo. Oh yeah, Turo's so unreliable. Don't worry, we got plenty of cars here. Basically told me that within somehow the 30 to 40 minutes that I was driving out there, and despite the car sitting right out front, they said the McLaren was not available. It was just rented. Don't worry, we have a whole row of Lamborghinis sitting ready and waiting. She said, and I quote, I will get you the Lamborghini at the McLaren price. So that way, you know, it's fine. Everything's okay. And that caused me to pause a bit because I just remember browsing on their website that those Lamborghinis were being rented for 2 or 3 times the daily rate of the McLaren. Why is it that she's so willing to offer me the Lamborghini at such a low price? So I did call her out on this, and she essentially said, look, the 4-hour rate for the Lamborghini, it's $799. I will give you that 4-hour rate for the whole day. You want to rent the car for the whole day. 2 first sales tactics identified. Was the McLaren actually rented, or was it just a way to get me in the door so that they could upsell me the Lamborghini? Secondly, there was this big markdown. She gave me a $700 discount off the day rate for the car, and it's an offer that's just too good to turn down, so you want to proceed with the transaction. And multiple times during this whole sales process, you know, she'd always be like, oh, I'm gonna throw in an extra 25 miles. Oh, we'll add this on for free. Constantly like trying to sweeten the deal as we go along. So the next step of this whole process was that they wanted to verify my insurance. So she asked me, what insurance do I have? What sort of policy do I have? I told her I had Geico, and she went on about how Geico, State Farm, Progressive, and the like are really good with allowing people to rent exotic cars. And she, quote, has never had a problem, end quote, getting Geico to approve anyone for an exotic car rental. So it seems very reassuring, right? The first call to Geico took about 15 minutes, and the customer service rep verified that I could rent a Lamborghini. However, she said that they would only cover up to the cost of my car on my insurance policy, and I'm insuring a 2018 Audi S5. And if I'm assuming she meant MSRP versus real value, I'm not really sure. If she meant MSRP, that's $65,000. If she meant real value, that's significantly less money. And then she said anything above the value of the car on my policy, they would not cover, and I would possibly be out of pocket for those expenses. She said all of this on speakerphone. So the rental saleswoman did not like that answer. She hung up and called Geico again, and this time a different insurance agent. This guy basically said, no, I was not covered for a Lamborghini rental. This lady's like, oh, this is so weird. Eventually she hangs up, calls Geico for a 3rd time, and her manager walks over and is essentially like, what's the deal? And she's like, well, it's Geico and they're always really good. When this one said they would cover me and the other guy said they wouldn't, and he's just like, I'll okay him to rent the car, it's okay. So she writes down literally manager's name okayed on this piece of paper, and their plan was, instead of me renting the 2023 Lamborghini, they were going to give me the lesser value 2022 Lamborghini. That's what they claimed for the reason why I was all of a sudden approved in their eyes to go along and rent this car. But it was still uncertain to me. During this whole process, I'm like, wait, am I actually covered for this car? Or am I still going to be on the hook, right? It wasn't exactly 100% clear. I was definitely not feeling comfortable at this point continuing with renting a $300,000, $400,000 car. But I did want to see how the rest of this would unfold. It does get worse, guys. It gets a lot worse. So after this insurance discussion and them feeling comfortable to rent the car out to me, now began more of the upsells. So upsell number one was that the Lamborghini was only good for 75 miles, but they had mileage packages, and she would throw in a paltry 25 or 50 miles as a bonus to some of their mileage tiers. Ultimately, I knew I wanted to drive a bit further out of the strip. I was talking about going to the Valley of Fire National State Park. So I chose the $299 mileage package. Otherwise, I'd be on the hook for $5 or $6 a mile over their 75-mile limit. Mileage limits are not unique to just this business. It is, across the board. Just keep that in mind. The second discussion was her selling me an insurance package aimed directly at loss of use based off of their rental income. She leans in, she makes direct eye contact, her voice changes. She wants me to know this is very serious. You need to understand this. If I don't tell you this information, I'm the bad guy if and when you crash the car and you're on the hook for all of this money. Geico will cover damage, but we also rent these cars out at $750 a day, and you're on the hook for up to $75,000 of loss of rental income if we cannot rent this car out for each day that it's in the shop or needs repairs. But don't worry, John. We have a $299, $399, or $499 insurance packages that you could buy to cover yourself. And this one, you're on the hook for some crazy amount that I don't even remember. The other one, you were on the hook for like a $500 deductible. And the highest one, you weren't really on the hook for anything. Wow, how amazing. My reservations about this because one, they had a whole bunch of Lamborghinis sitting there not being rented. So you're telling me I would be on the hook every day for a Lambo, even though it would be sitting on the lot unrented anyways. Secondly, why the $75,000 number seems rather arbitrary. Why not a $10,000 number? Why not a $100,000 number? Like, where did they come up with $75,000? Third off, it is very convenient that my insurance or credit card liability wouldn't cover this as an add-on. Why am I on the hook for this? Wouldn't a commercial rental insurance have loss of rental use as reimbursement for the business? Are they trying to double dip by having me pay for their loss of use? There were so many different nuances and things about this, but I didn't know about it beforehand, so it's not like I could do my research. While apprehensive, I still didn't want to be on the hook for a really expensive $300,000-$400,000 car. I was like, yeah, I'll take the loss of use package. They gave me a $700 discount off of the Lamborghini, and then I go and add on $700 worth of add-ons with the mileage and the insurance package anyways. So I was more or less right where their normal price started at. And keep in mind, while all of this is going on, it's taken a long time. Different salesmen's going up to my friends. He's talking to them. He's making small talk. Oh, what are you guys going to do with the car? Oh yeah, that'll be really awesome. Oh, what do you guys do for a living? Really trying to gauge, is a bunch of young dudes actually able to afford this Lamborghini, right? So the big reveal, after spending 30 or 40 minutes talking about insurance and all the add-ons, she finally turns the screen over to me to show me the price of the Lamborghini rental for one day. She had all of these fees, charges, taxes, additional info, and I saw the final price, and I really wish I had a video of my face when I saw that number. They wanted over $4,100 to rent this Lamborghini for one day. And some of these charges included taxes, which I understand. So why is there a 20% service fee being added to my transaction, in addition to a 9.4% credit card transaction fee? Usually credit card transaction fees are 3 or 4%. Why were they charging 9%? They didn't have a good reason for the 9%. I mean, obviously we know they're padding their profit, but he's like, well, if you don't want to pay the credit card fee, do you have cash? We'll take cash. Who the heck travels with $4,000 worth of cash? Doubly so when you're going in there to rent an $800 car. And I'm pretty sure they would prefer, and I would prefer, to have that transaction on a credit card via a third-party mediator than hand them a fat stack of dollar bills. Oh, and don't forget the $199 refuel charge was mandatory because she was like, oh, well, the Lamborghini takes 93 octane and you're going to have a hard time finding that in Vegas. Everywhere is 91 octane. We have a special exclusive arrangement with the airport to get 93 octane. Admittedly, she was right. A lot of the gas stations we went to in Vegas, had 91 octane, $200 would fuel up my Audi's gas tank 4 times, guys. 4 times it would fuel up my gas tank. Their website says 91 octane as premium gas is suitable. You know, obviously 93 has some performance benefits, but I did not necessarily find a source saying 91 is going to kill the Lamborghini engine. BS after BS after BS. Out of curiosity, because I wanted to see, I was like, oh, you know, well, maybe I don't want this Lamborghini, but how much is this Aston Martin? Because there was this Aston Martin Vantage sitting right next to me. And she turns around, you know, she clicks a different little checkbox. All the same charges come up, all different numbers. And she was just like, yeah, that Aston Martin's $2,100. And so I stand up, I thank her, and I yell to my buddies that we need to leave. It's just time to go. I start walking up to them. She was sitting there being like, John, wait, I could work with you. Wait, hold on, come back, come sit down again. Let's talk the numbers again. All these things, you know, to have me come sit down, but wasn't really making much of an effort. It became glaringly obvious to me how they can afford such a large fleet of exotics, a really nice facility, all these salespeople. And the reason is because they charge a lot of money for their cars. They're clearly a business that makes money. And just to paint a picture, guys, several people walked into that exotic dealership while I was there, and I noticed not one of them left with a car. All of them were getting strung through this bullshit. My issue with this whole luxury exotic car rental experience, that $800 a day ballooned up to $4,000, and that is not even in the same ballpark. Here's the thing, some of you guys will be watching this video and be like, what do you expect, bro? It's such an expensive car. Like, why are you angry that they want all this money for it? I have no problem that they're charging $3,000 or $4,000 to rent a Lamborghini. All I wanted was more transparency before wasting an hour of my vacation at their exotic rental business. If I had known that it was going to be $4,000 for a Lamborghini, $2,100 for a base model Aston Martin, I would not have bothered with their nonsense in the first place. I would have literally saved everybody time. Instead, I had to get strung through this sales experience, and that is why I'm sharing it with you guys. I'm not saying that all exotic car dealerships do this, and you know, this isn't like some blanket statement. On a site like Veluxity, for instance, in New York, that at least spells out the 35% service charge and taxes for this Bentley, and they have some sort of more reasonable estimate of your daily going rate. And if you're completely comfortable paying that and you're happy to rent with them, then great. That's more transparent to me than the sort of dealership site and experience that I went through. If you are watching this video and you're still going to go through with one of these exotic car rentals, be prepared to understand that the price you see online will balloon. But avoid sites with just stock photos of their car rather than actual pictures of what you're getting. The site did have actual pictures of the cars that I would be buying. And lastly, do not get attached to any one car, and be prepared to leave. Have a plan B. After this experience, I was still able to rent a McLaren off Turo for way less money, which I will review on this YouTube channel, so you guys should keep an eye out for that video. Guys, if you found this video helpful, it would mean a lot to me if you hit that like button. And if you have any experiences or comments about these exotic luxury car rental companies, please leave a comment down below. Consider subscribing to my channel, where we talk more about luxury and exotic cars. As always, stay safe out there. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.